I'm pushing through it every day. It's difficult to go through the pain, but you have to look forward.
For 18-year-old Kiani Martinez, her brother and sisters, there is utter devastation beyond the pain of burns, shrapnel, and broken bones. Their mother, Gail, was killed. All 4 children and their father, Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Cato Martinez, were among the Americans critically wounded in the March ISIS suicide bomber attack on the Brussels airport. Lieutenant Colonel Martinez was just back from Afghanistan. They'd been waiting to check in for a flight to go on vacation.
Local media are reporting an exchange of gunfire, and they're reporting that this was a bomb blast.
35 people were killed, 300 wounded when ISIS attackers detonated bombs hidden in suitcases at the airport departure area.
Yes, ma'am.
In their first interview ever, the family wants the world to know what ISIS took from them when Gail died that day.
Tell me about your mom. What do you want people to know about her?
I live every day because of her. I live every day for her. And to remember her and to honor her.
Kiani says her mother was everything to the family. This young teenager is unflinching.
I think it's important for me to talk about this. At 18, where you're supposed to be going to college, becoming independent, having been prepared for everything by your parents, and then trying to learn for yourself what the real world is like. The real world slapped me in the face on March 22nd. And I'm not going to forget that.
Kiani was supposed to be in college by now.
When I heard news that I was awarded an Air Force ROTC scholarship, the first person I told was Mama. And she was so proud.
It's tough.
Lieutenant Colonel Martinez, now raising 4 children on his own, grieving his wife, and recovering from his own injuries. Photos of happier times with Gail in Europe, while Lieutenant Colonel Martinez held a NATO job.
I later learned I took most of the shrapnel, if not all of the shrapnel, because my son took the secondary wave and he got the burn, the flame. I didn't lose consciousness. I was blasted forward, and I knew I was bleeding because I felt blood coming from my ears.
Martinez instantly feared the worst.
But my first instinct was to look for my children and for my wife. I couldn't find my son or my 2 youngest. I heard screaming, and I found Kiani. The fact that she was screaming, knew that she was alive, she was coherent, and I went to look for her mom. I said, I'll be right back. I went to look for her mom. I knew I was bleeding out, and my body was going into shock. So I closed my eyes and welcomed it, and figured I'd join my wife and my 3 kids. But as I was slipping away, I heard this little girl call out to me, "Daddy, don't you go. Don't you leave me." And just when I thought, I was enveloped by the darkness and ready to go to sleep, I heard her voice and decided to come back.
Then the unimaginable. Gail, the love of his life, was gone.
The story I got from one of the first responders regarding my baby, the youngest one, was that they found her in Gail's arms. When they got to her, they told her, "We got the baby now. She's gonna be okay." And that's when she looked up to them, smiled, and closed her eyes for the last time.
Lieutenant Colonel Martinez would not learn the rest of his family survived until he woke up in a Belgian hospital. Initially, he could not be moved out of bed to even see them. Military buddies came to the hospital to make sure the children were never alone.
They did shifts around the clock, making sure that my children were taken care of, and there was always a friendly face there.
Now, home is Texas. The family is very slowly getting through its days. The two youngest, 7-year-old Kailani and her 9-year-old sister Noelani, recovering from their injuries. Now, tiny master chefs in the kitchen.
And then we're waiting for the rice so we can put it on top, smush it down to straighten it, and then wrap the seaweed around it.
At physical therapy, 13-year-old Chemo loosens his burn scar tissue that covers his lower body so he can play sports again. This American military family, grief-stricken, but honoring their mother killed by terrorists by recovering and regaining the lives they know she wanted for them.
I see her in the faces of my children. I see her in this house. I see her in the people that come to help us. I see her in all the things that are been done for us, to support us, to help us. All the good things that have happened.
It's more than just physical therapy to climb this wall. For the Martinez family, total determination to get to the mountaintop and ring that bell.
That's what I'm talking about.
Barbara Starr, CNN, San Antonio.